So, in the new Star Wars series, The Mandalorian, there have been many cameos from different guest stars throughout the first season, like Amy Sedaris, Clancy Brown, and even Jason Sudeikis. But there's one guest star, or rather their character, that I want to be focusing on, and that character would be the mercenary gunslinger Mayfeld, played by Bill Burr. The thing that interests me about this character is these lines.
Yeah, well, Mayfeld, he's one of the best triggermen I've ever seen. Former Imperial sharpshooter.
That's not saying much.
I wasn't a stormtrooper, wise ass.
So in that clip, it's stated that Mayfeld was an Imperial sharpshooter. And then when Mando remarks saying that that's not saying much, Mayfeld replies saying that he wasn't a stormtrooper. So if he was an Imperial sharpshooter, but he wasn't a stormtrooper, then what was he? Well, to get to the bottom of this, we're going to go through every canon Imperial trooper in the Star Wars universe and look at which he could or couldn't be. And obviously, because he was a sharpshooter, we're just looking at combat positions. So first thing, it has to be canon. Nothing from expanded universe like Dark Troopers or anything like that. Now that we can just look at the canon Imperial forces, we should start with the type that Mayfeld specifically mentions, that being the Stormtrooper. In this scene, Mayfeld's saying that he wasn't a Stormtrooper, and this is obviously a nod to the long-running joke between fans that Stormtroopers are horrible marksmen. So if Mayfeld is at a higher level of accuracy than Stormtroopers, then that should exclude him from being anything like a Mud Trooper, who are pretty much just Stormtrooper rejects. Then, while we're on the topic of Stormtroopers, I should mention Mayfeld not being a Stormtrooper should also mean he wasn't any terrain specialized trooper, because these were just Stormtroopers that trained to operate in different terrain. So this includes Jump Troopers, Magma Troopers, Mimban Stormtroopers, Patrol Troopers, Sand Troopers, Sea Troopers, Shore Troopers, Snow Troopers, and Space Troopers. And there's also the two Fire Troopers, the Flame Trooper and the Incinerator Stormtrooper. These aren't really Stormtrooper units designed for different terrain, but seeing as they use flamethrowers, I don't think you would classify any of them as sharpshooters, so they get grouped with the other basic Stormtroopers. The next group of troopers to look at is the vehicle operators. The fact that Mayfeld is present for this job indicates that he's not a vehicle operator and is definitely a ground soldier. So we can remove the following off our list: AT-AT pilot, AT-ST pilot, assault tank pilot, and all of the TIE pilots. The next 5 are all specialized units, so I can't really group them together. That's why I'll be looking at them all individually. The first is the Death Trooper. Now, I have a real bone to pick with this one, because first of all, they look stupid. They look like they just have no noses. Second, they stole that name. And before you say it's a coincidence, quote, as such, the name of the Death Trooper stems from a rumored project from the Advanced Weapons Research Division, designed to animate necrotic flesh. Now that I'm done ranting, why could Mayfeld not be a Death Trooper? Well, it states here that the physical requirements are height and weight standards that exceed normal troopers. And if you look at Bill Burr, the actor who played Mayfeld, he isn't that tall. There's also the fact that the Death Troopers have various modifications to their bodies, and Mayfeld doesn't seem to have any notable modifications to his body, so the Death Troopers are off the list. Next, I'm going to look at the two introduced in the 2015 Battlefront game, the Shadow Trooper and the Shock Trooper. Yes, I know they weren't actually introduced in Battlefront, but this game introduced them as canon. Sort of. This game was made after Disney declared everything Star Wars from then on was canon, so this game just hasn't been confirmed to not be canon yet. Anyway, as I was saying, the Shadow Trooper and the Shock Trooper do look like possible candidates for Mayfeld. They both appear to be normal troopers with better training, but the thing that makes this a little less likely is the fact that in-game, these units were always seen using heavy blasters, and as we see in The Mandalorian, Mayfeld uses dual-wield blaster pistols. So there is a possibility that he may have been an Imperial Shock Trooper, but I don't think there's very much chance he would have been a Shadow Trooper, because the Shadow Trooper is not likely to ever be properly canon, especially now that there's another all-black Stormtrooper, that being the Death Trooper. The Shock Trooper, however, is easily justified in that they just didn't change the markings since they phased out the clone Shock Troopers. And I should also mention that the Shock Troopers had better training than the Shadow Troopers. So to summarize, Shadow Trooper no, Shock Trooper maybe. The second last one is the Scout Trooper. Now, I know there might be a few people who think that Mayfeld was a Scout Trooper, and it's probably because if you look at the Scout Trooper on the wiki, at the top of the page it says Scout Troopers, also known as Imperial Sharpshooters. And this would seem like a pretty definite answer, right? Wrong, because you probably didn't check the source.
Where's the
Wikipedia.
source?
Because the link between Scout Trooper and Imperial Sharpshooter was in Star Wars Galactic Defense, a 2014 Star Wars mobile game. Battlefront 2015 is really walking the line between canon and legends, so I don't think a mobile game would have any legitimacy anywhere in the Star Wars universe. I also know that Scout Troopers are commonly depicted as snipers, but I can't recall any canon sources for this. And again, Mayfeld uses twin blaster pistols, so he's probably not a sniper. So if Mayfeld's not a sniper, then would he be a regular Scout Trooper? Well, from the scene we get at the start of the Mandalorian season finale, it doesn't seem like Scout Troopers are any better than Stormtroopers in the aiming department. So the Scout Trooper doesn't seem very likely. Finally, we're on to the trooper that I personally believe is the definite answer to the question of what Mayfeld was. And that trooper is the Range Trooper. The reason this trooper fits so well is because Range Troopers are normal humans, but with far superior training to that of normal Stormtroopers. So they definitely are far more accurate than Stormtroopers, and the way Range Troopers operate gives them much more freedom than other Imperials. This also means that it will be easier for them to use non-standard issue gear, such as twin blaster pistols. This option makes more sense when you also think that if they ever bring back Bill Burr to the show, which it is unlikely, but if they do, it's a way to shed more light on a trooper type that we really haven't seen very much of. Whether you watched the entire video to get here or just skipped for the end, my final conclusion is that the Range Trooper is definitely the most likely for what Mayfeld would have been, but my personal favourite is the Shock Trooper. I think that would be very cool to see that. But I'm still pretty sure that a lot of people are going to argue that he was a Scout Trooper. Anyway, if you think I missed out on any troopers, or I didn't go into enough detail with any, be sure to leave that in the comment section below. And I guess that's the end of the video, so if you enjoyed it, like and subscribe. Well, anyway, bye. Disgusting. You call this a trooper? I wouldn't spit on that. I mean, can you believe this? we could have got this. We could have got this. This is concept art. We could have got this Category 3 Chad here, but instead we get Voldemort. They give us goddamn Voldemort. The hell?